It's January 21st, 2026, and I want you to just think back for a second. Think back to last year, to 2025.
Oh, wow. Do we have to?
We have to, because honestly, it was a bit of a mess, wasn't it?
A total mess. It was just this fever dream of hype and demos.
Right. It felt like every week there was some new, game-changing tool. You'd see it on X, you'd sign up for the wait list, and then you'd get access, and it was basically vaporware.
Or it was just a toy. That was the worst part. You play with it for 10 minutes and you realize, okay, this can't actually fit into a real professional workflow, and you just never touch it again. It was the year of the demo.
Exactly, the year of overpromising. But now, sitting here today, it feels like the dust has finally settled. We aren't just, chatting with bots for fun. We're actually watching these complex workflows happen in real time. I mean, we're seeing a 4-hour video shoot get remixed into a full campaign blog, social email in 5 minutes?
And that's the headline for 2026.
Yes.
Right. We've moved from just experimenting to real execution.
So today, we're going to do a deep dive into this guide that really claims to be the playbook for right now. It's called The Top 5 AI Skills for Marketers in 2026 by Max Ann. And what I like about it is that it's not sci-fi. We're not talking about flying cars here.
No, this is the baseline. This is, if you're a professional marketer today, this is your new job description. If you aren't doing this stuff, you are already falling behind.
Okay, so we've got 5 key areas to roadmap. First is content remixing with Gemini 3. Then we have visual branding with a tool that has my favorite name ever, Nano Banana Pro.
I still can't get over that. It sounds like something you'd put in a smoothie, but it is seriously powerful.
We'll get to that. Then there's AI video with Vio and Sora, the rise of AI agents, which is a huge mental shift. And finally, this thing called vibe coding.
Vibe coding. Yeah, it sounds like something a teenager does on TikTok, but it's actually one of the most practical skills on this whole list.
Okay, let's jump in with number 1, content remixing. The source says we've shifted from create once, use once to infinite remixing. But we've been talking about repurposing for years. What's actually different now?
The engine is different. The game changer is Gemini 3.
Oh.
And to get why, you kind of have to look at how we did this back in, say, 2024.
Okay, so take us back to the old days.
Back then, if you wanted an AI to summarize a video, you had to transcribe it first.
Yeah.
You were feeding it text, a script.
Right.
You didn't know if you were whispering or shouting. It didn't see the slide you were pointing to on screen. It was basically blind and deaf, just processing words.
So it lost all the nuance, the emotion.
All of it, exactly. But Gemini 3 has what they call native multimodal understanding. It's not reading a transcript. It is watching the video file. It's processing the raw data, the audio, the pixels, the gestures. It understands it like a person does.
It gets the context.
It gets everything. And Max Ann gives this amazing workflow example. You have a 4-hour video recording. Maybe it's a huge workshop or a long interview.
In the old days, that was a week of work. Easily.
For sure. Scrubbing through timelines, finding clips. Now, you just drop the YouTube URL into Gemini 3. No transcription.
Yeah.
And you give it a very specific prompt. Watch this. Extract 10 insights. Write a 1,200-word blog, 10 LinkedIn posts, and a 3-email sequence.
And it just does that.
In about 5 minutes.
Wow. That is a massive compression of time. But is the quality any good? We've all seen those AI blog posts that sound so robotic. Delve into the landscape of...
In today's fast-paced digital age, yeah. We all know that sound. And that's a fair point. The guide is honest about it. It says the output is good because it understands the context, but, and this is a big but, it still needs a human. It takes about 1 hour for a person to review, refine, and polish everything.
It wasn't a magic button. It's a lever.
Exactly. But you're comparing 1 hour of polishing to, 3 days of drafting? That's the real ROI. It's about speed.
The source also brings up this idea of a smart stack, saying you shouldn't just use Gemini for everything. What's that about?
This is so important. We all want one tool to do it all, but different models just have different personalities. Gemini 3 is your analyst. It has this huge context window. It can hold that whole 4-hour video in its head. It's the heavy lifter. It does the logic.
Okay, so Gemini builds the skeleton.
Right. But for the polish, for the creative flair, the guide says to move the text over to Claude. Claude just has a better ear for human nuance. It writes less like a corporation and more like a person.
Interesting. So Gemini for thinking, Claude for writing.
That's a good way to put it. And you keep ChatGPT around for just the fast, everyday stuff, the quick questions. It's not about one perfect tool. It's about stacking them.
Let me play devil's advocate here. If the AI is doing the analysis and the AI is doing the writing, what's left for the marketer? Are we just pushing buttons? So does this replace creativity or just distribution?
It replaces the drudgery. Creativity moves up to the strategy level.
Creativity moves up the ladder. I like that. Okay, let's move on to the second skill. Now we get to talk about Nano Banana Pro.
Finally.
Yeah.
I've been waiting, Nano Banana.
Visual branding. Remind us why this was such a headache before now. Why was visual consistency so hard?
Oh, it was a nightmare. If you used Midjourney or DALL-E back in 2024, you know this pain. You'd generate a character, let's say a mascot for a coffee brand, a bear in a hoodie.
Sure, a bear in a hoodie, classic.
And it looks great. But then your next prompt is, okay, now show that same bear sitting at a desk. And suddenly it's a different bear. The hoodie's a different color. The face is wrong.
It just morphed every single time.
You could never build an identity because you couldn't get the same asset twice. It was a slot machine.
And Nano Banana Pro, which is really just the Gemini 3 Pro image model, it solves this.
It does. It has true character consistency. You can lock in a specific face, a specific outfit, and it stays the same across different scenes. The AI remembers who the bear is.
What about text? That was always the big tell for AI images, the garbled words on signs.
Gone. Text rendering is finally clean. You can put your slogan on a t-shirt in the image, and it's actually spelled correctly.
That's huge. The guide talks about a workflow it calls the Brand Bible. How does that actually work?
So this is the pro move. You don't just start from scratch every time. You create this master document, your brand Bible. It has your hex codes, your fonts, your logo, your mood board images.
And you just feed that to the AI.
Every single time. You're priming the model. The guide says you can upload between 1 and 14 reference images. So for our bear,
The bear in the hoodie.
you define it once, minimalist style, blue palette, hashtag 1E8085. You save that reference image. Then next week, you don't describe the bear again. You just say, using this character, generate a scene of them celebrating a win.
And it looks like your brand because it's locked to that reference.
It looks like your brand. And the cost change is just absurd. You used to pay thousands for a photo shoot, for models, a location.
And now it's $20 a month for a tool.
Exactly. It completely democratizes high-end visual branding.
Okay, but here's the question that raises. If I can do this for $20, so can my competitor. So if everyone has perfect visuals, how do you actually stand out? If everyone has perfect visual consistency for $20, how do you stand out?
You stand out by having a better brand Bible and taste.
Taste. The human eye is the advantage. Okay, let's shift to the third skill, AI video. This feels like the one that really just crossed the good enough threshold this year.
Oh yeah, this is the big one. This is where the magic is happening.
The guide points to two main tools, VO 3.1 and Sora 2. Are they basically the same thing or are there real differences?
Oh, they're very different. It's really a case of physics versus vibes.
Physics versus vibes. I like that. Break it down.
Okay, so VO 3.1 is from Google DeepMind. It's the king of photorealism. It gets how light works, how gravity works. If you need a product shot of a soda can and you want it to look absolutely real, you use VO. It respects the laws of nature.
And
Sora 2 from OpenAI is more of the creative artist. It's way better for stylization, for abstract concepts, for things that need to feel kind of dreamy. It bends reality, but in a good way.
And there's a quick mention of Kling AI 2.6.
Yep. It's noted as an S-tier tool, right up there with the others in terms of quality.
Now, the guide has a golden rule for video. It says to always start with images. Why? Why not just type in a prompt?
Because text is just too ambiguous. If I tell you to imagine a woman in a cafe, you're picturing something totally different from what I am. Different lighting, different mood.
Sure, I'm thinking a rainy Paris street. You might be thinking a bright Starbucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you just give that text to the AI, you get a random result, a lottery. But if you generate the image first with Nano Banana, you lock it in. You get the lighting perfect, the face perfect. That image becomes the anchor.
So the video model isn't inventing the scene, it's just animating what you've already approved.
Precisely. It's image to video. That's the secret.
Okay, walk me through that workflow.
Step 1. Generate your hero images. Get them perfect. Step 2. Animate them with VO. Add a slow camera orbit, maybe. Step 3. Create what the guide calls lifestyle moments. Someone using the product, smiling. Then you just cut it all together for social.
It sounds super efficient, but the guide is also really honest about what AI video can't do yet.
Yeah, and this is so important to remember. The biggest limitation is complex human conversations.
Just people talking.
Yeah, it still looks off. The lips move, but the micro expressions, they aren't there. It's deep in the uncanny valley. It just makes viewers feel uncomfortable.
What else?
Long narratives. Anything over 30 seconds starts to drift. The AI forgets what the character was wearing. And precise brand compliance, like getting a logo perfectly right on a moving shirt, is still a bit hit or miss.
So we aren't filming the Super Bowl commercial with this yet.
No, this is for the daily content feed beast, not cinema.
Right. It feeds the algorithm. Okay, skill 4. This feels more technical, but the source calls it a 10x multiplier. AI agents and automation.
This is that huge shift from chatting with a bot to building a system.
I think people get a little lost on the term agent. How is it different from just using ChatGPT?
Well, a chatbot is passive. It just sits there and waits for you to talk to it. An agent is active. It runs in the background. It watches for things to happen. It makes decisions, and it takes actions without you holding its hand.
It's like a digital employee.
Exactly. A digital intern who never sleeps and never complains.
The source gives this specific example using a tool called N8N. Can you walk us through that? I think this is where people get intimidated.
Yeah, it looks scary, but it's really just a flowchart. You start with a blank canvas, and you drag these little nodes onto it.
Okay.
So your first node is the trigger, let's say, a chat command. The second node is the brain, the AI agent. You connect it to OpenAI and tell it, write an HTML blog post about this topic.
Okay, so far that's pretty standard.
But this is where it gets cool. The next node is an Action Google Docs node. The agent literally creates a new document in your Google Drive. Then another node inserts the content. And the last node uses Gmail to email you the link.
So in practice, I could type a topic into a Slack channel, and 3 minutes later I get an email with a link to a finished Google Doc.
That's it. You didn't copy-paste anything. You didn't open a new tab. It just happened.
Do you sec silence? Whoa, I mean, that sounds like actual magic.
It really feels like it. And the guide compares this skill to knowing Excel.
Excel.
Yeah. 20 years ago, if you were in finance, you had to know Excel. The guide says marketers who understand automation tools like Make, Zapier, or N8N, they're the new Excel experts. It's becoming mandatory.
This sounds like engineering, not marketing. Is the line blurring?
The line is gone. The modern marketer is a systems architect.
A systems architect. That's a heavy title. We're going to take a very short break. Mid-roll sponsor read. We are back, and we are at the final skill. Skill number 5, vibe coding.
Vibe coding.
I just love that term. It sounds so casual. Just doing some vibe coding. What is it, really?
It's really the democratization of making software. It just means using plain English to tell an AI what kind of tool to build. You don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to know Python. You just need to be able to describe the vibe or the function of what you want.
So English is the new coding language.
Exactly. And the only syntax you need to know is clarity.
The guide mentions tools like Claude Code and Cursor. What are people actually building with this stuff?
Well, we're not building the next big banking app or a secure OS.
Right. Please don't do that.
No, don't vibe code your security. We're building useful, maybe even disposable internal tools.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, say you need a dashboard to track a campaign. Normally, you'd file a ticket with IT. You'd wait 6 weeks.
And by then the campaign's over.
Of course. With vibe coding, you open Cursor and you just say, build me a dashboard that pulls data from these 3 CSV files and visualizes it with a bar chart. Make the background dark mode.
And it just writes the code.
It writes the code, shows you a preview of the app, and lets you talk to it. If the chart is the wrong color, you just tell it, make the chart green. You iterate in minutes, not weeks. It just removes that bottleneck completely.
That's incredibly empowering. But the guide does mention what not to build. Besides security, are there other limits?
Yeah, it's mainly about mission-critical stuff. If the company would shut down if this tool breaks, don't vibe code it.
Yeah.
But for a quick competitor scraper, an ROI calculator for sales, it's perfect for that.
This raises a really interesting point for me. If the barrier to entry is just describing what you want, what's the actual skill that's scarce now? If the barrier to entry is just describing what you want, what is the scarce skill?
Clarity. The ability to clearly articulate exactly what needs to be built.
Clarity of thought.
That's it. If you have fuzzy thinking, you're going to get fuzzy code. The AI does exactly what you tell it. If you can't explain the logic clearly, it can't build the tool.
So it actually forces you to be a better thinker.
100%. Clarity of thought is the new coding.
We've covered a lot of ground. Content remixing, nano banana, AI video, agents, and vibe coding. Max Ann ends this guide with this conclusion about a chasm.
Yeah, this is the big takeaway at the end. He splits all marketers into 2 groups, Group A and Group B.
Okay, break that down for us. Who's in Group?
Group A are the people using AI as a force multiplier. They're building the agents, they're vibe coding dashboards. They aren't working harder, they're just working smarter. They move 10 times faster because they have all this leverage.
And Group B?
Group B is stuck. They're the ones still manually copying and pasting data between spreadsheets. They're waiting 3 days for a designer to make a thumbnail. They are doing the rote work that machines have already solved.
That is a very stark contrast.
It is. And the guide's main point is that the barrier between Group A and B isn't a university degree anymore. It's not about who knows C++A.
Then what is it?
It's curiosity. That's the only requirement. If you're curious enough to just open N8N and try to connect 2 nodes, even if you fail at first, you're putting yourself in Group A. If you're just waiting for someone to give you a manual, you're going to stay in Group B.
That's a powerful place to leave things. But I also know, for you listening right now, if you try to do all 5 of these things this week, you're just going to burn out.
Oh, absolutely. Don't do that. That's a recipe for disaster. I mean, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself when I try to do too much at once.
So what's the real first step?
Just pick one. Seriously.
Blah, blah, blah.
Maybe it's the nano banana images. Just go try to create a brand character and see if you can make it look the same in 2 different pictures. That's it. Or maybe it's the N8N agent. Just try to automate one simple email.
Just get your hands dirty.
Exactly. Don't stay in the audience. The only way to really learn any of this is to just do it.
The chasm is here. The tools are here. The only question left is, which side are you standing on?
That is the question.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you on the next one.